Hi, I'm Wendy. I am one of the instructors at Fodder School, and I'm here today to talk to you about the projects that we have made so far in Fodder School 1. And one of the things that many of us do is we keep a record of our journey in Fodder School. And it's a visual record. We keep notes. Our first month in Fodder School, our teacher was Tiffany Sharp, and we created fussy cut watercolor botanicals and a lot of other watercolor fussy cuts. And we made these incredible books called Fodder Keepers. And I ended up making 3 of them because I just enjoyed the process so much. And they are just a way of storing fussy cut fodder or any other type of fodder that fits in this size. Obviously, you wouldn't be saving, full sheets of paper in here, but you can save anything that is small. So that was our October 2021 lesson. And you can see that I've still got plenty of room. I do a lot of thought fodder and word fodder, and I love botanicals. And I know that in Fodder School 2, we're going to be making more fodder like this, and I've got plenty of space to storage it, and I've actually been using a ton of it ever since making these books. I just love looking at all the different textures that we've learned how to create. So anytime that I can sort of play with the paper more, record the colors that I love, the textures that I love, my own experiments. This came out of October Fodder School lessons with Tiffany. We weren't doing these shapes and these motifs in Fodder School, but I was like, oh, let me try to do some of my own. And these types of things are going to show up again in my own lessons in Fodder School too. So it's just, the notebook is a way of recording the fun that we're having. In our November lessons with Dee Dee Catron, we learned how to cut our own rubber stamps and made some really fun fodder with that. And Dee Dee had us making a trifold sort of piece of art that you would put on your mantle, and it was really beautiful. It was like a winter wonderland scene, but I just got really inspired to make a book. I'm one of those people that just likes to make a lot of books, and I was really inspired by Dee Dee's lesson to create a book out of the different techniques that she showed us. The photo transfers, the using gold foil, using these cardboard die cuts. And I just made this fabulous, fabulous little book with leftover messy pages that I had. And I should actually start working in this book a lot more because it's really beautiful. We had our lessons from Amy Bishop. Amy had us making amulets. So this was an extraordinary process from creating the fodder to creating these mixed media art pieces. I absolutely loved every minute of making these amulets. There were so many amazing details that Amy taught us how to create. And there were even lots of things that she showed us how to do that I didn't even get around to. And I would love to go back to these lessons at some time in the future and make more amulets and do more with the different types of art that Amy taught us how to create in her December Fodder School lessons. In January, we worked on handwriting. And handwriting in my work is something that I have been doing for, at least 25 years. And we made some phenomenal fodder in January. And then we created these beautiful trifold books. Super duper fun, great fodder, great lessons. The teacher was Autumn Moon. And I just absolutely, this is one of my favorite pieces of art I think I've actually ever created right there in this book. And I just loved these lessons. I thought, this is so fabulous. I just love using handwriting. And that was our January 2022 lesson. Then in February, our instructor was Megan Wisner-Quinlan, and we learned how to make all different types of incredible fodder. We all basically used a lot of Tim Holtz's die cut vintage little photographs, and I made a ton of these assemblages. I have been using them ever since in journals, and I have a planner that I use, and I've been using them in that. So I made a series of smaller ones and a series of larger ones, and I actually have enough leftover material that I can just keep making them. And that is something that I did want to share with you, is I oftentimes make so much material that I have, I have to move on to the next month before I can even finish up using all of what I have. So I actually just put my leftovers in a little basket, and then this is just a nice thing where I can take the whole basket and sit at my desk, and I can make 8 more of these in a sitting, and then I can just store them for usage later. So I keep all the extra project materials in one place in a basket. The basket size depends upon how big the project is. And that was February. In March, our instructor was Rebecca Chapman. So this is now March of 2022. And Rebecca did a color mixing exercise, which I absolutely adored, and then taught us how to make a variety of collage fodder, which I also absolutely adored. It was some of my favorite fodder that I've made the entire time. And Rebecca had everyone create wall art pieces, sort of representational, a little bit representational of something that is meaningful to them in their lives. And since representational art is not exactly my comfort zone, I kind of wimped out, I have to be honest. I love Rebecca's art, and I totally wimped out on her project, but I didn't wimp out on her fodder. And I decided that instead of doing a piece of wall art, that I was going to make a book with it. And I ended up making a book that I really, really love, because even though representational art is not necessarily my thing, texture, pattern, and color really are my things. They're the things that I'm naturally drawn to, and I adore this book that I made inspired by Rebecca. In April of 2022, we made artist trading cards. And we did this with Sarah Gardner. She's got multiple Instagram accounts. One of them is called Juicy S Art. The other one is Sarah Gardner. And Sarah had us making absolutely incredible fodder, and then turning the absolutely incredible fodder into tradable artist trading cards. So I held on to some of the ones that I created, and I've got plenty more materials. You can see here's another one of my project baskets with excess materials. So I could continue to make artist trading cards, and I probably will do that and continue to trade them because I love this so much. But I want to show you the real magic. So we ended up trading these artist trading cards with other participants in Fodder School all over the world. And here are all of the artist trading cards that I have collected that people have sent to me, and I love them so much. And when people sent them out, they also included their own fodder. So I have quite a collection of OPF, other people's fodder, and I ended up using the OPF in the next month. So I'm going to talk about that, but I ended up sorting it by color, And it's really, really useful to me in this way, because if I have a project that I want to do and it's, you know, like a black and white project or a purple and blue or a green and yellow, then I can just go to this bin and I can find like incredible beauty, all just color coordinated, and it's pretty astonishing. So that was April. In May of 2022, our instructor was Laura Dame. And in Laura's lesson, we did small collages that were frameable to use as wall art in our home or to give as gifts. And I created 3 pieces of wall art that I really, really love, and I framed them. These were just inexpensive frames that I got at Michael's. I see I damaged that one a little bit, so I better get these on the wall before I do more damage to them. But I loved creating the fodder that Laura taught us how to create, and I loved creating these frameable pieces of wall art. In June, we took a month off of creating new collage fodder, because at this point everyone has more than enough collage fodder to do any mixed media art project that their heart desires. And our instructor in June, Tracy Wozniak, her Instagram account is More Than Marmalade or Marmalade Mondays. She's got 2 different accounts. And we did something with Tracy that she calls Share Fodder. So what is sharing fodder? So sharing fodder is creating little pieces of mixed media art that you can give away, abandon, donate, mail to friends, mail to loved ones. And we had so much fun. You could make these kindness coins, kindness cards in circles, squares, rectangles, anything you want. And Tracy gave us a lot of lessons on different ways to do it. So she just has such an amazing way, and I emulated her in all different ways. And I have lots of these kindness cards that I can mail out to people or mail out to the list of organizations that we're now keeping in Fodder School that actively want people to send them kindness cards and kindness coins. So I'm actually going to leave this on my desk, because this is something good that I can do this week, is actually mail off a bunch of these to those organizations. And then if I mail them off, I get to make more. So that's always really exciting. Something that came out of that month of June was that I contracted with our graphic artist, Lori Jacobson, to create sheets and sheets and sheets of printable expressions. And these were all done in 8.5 by 11 sized sheets that people could just print out. And there are white ones, there are antique ones, and there are black pages with white text. And that's all available if you're in Fodder School 1, just pages and pages and pages of printable expressions that you can cut out and glue onto your art journal pages or your kindness cards. You can do whatever you want with them. And that was our share fodder in June. So our July instructor was Roxanne Paget, and of course it was time to make more fodder. Roxanne is a fodder queen, and Roxanne had us making some of the most incredible fodder I have ever made. And I just, I record kind of my thoughts in my book about things that I want to remember. And then we created these incredible accordion books with the fodder that we made, which was so incredible. And that was just such an amazing, fun project. If you're on, let's say, Instagram, and you search the hashtag Fodder School Project, so hashtag Fodder School Project, you can see just a huge variety of how people made the accordion books in our July Fodder School lessons. And of course, if you're a participant in Fodder School 1, you can see everything that people are doing in our private Facebook group. But this is just amazing. So I'm kind of up to date here. I brought you all the way through to July. We are at the end of July. We're about to embark on August. So our August Fodder School, I happen to be the instructor. And in August, we're going to be working a lot with different kinds of hand distressed and hand painted fabrics that we're then going to turn into a book that is very grungy and that you can use to record your thoughts, or you could add small photographs to it, or you could do more art journaling on top of these pages. I'm doing a lot of hand embellishing to the pages with different things I've collected, or little words, let's say, from the Tim Holtz collection. And I'm just really, really, really looking forward to going through this process with everyone in making another handmade book out of both fabric fodder and also paper fodder. So I hope you've enjoyed this tour through the first 10 months of Fodder School, and maybe you'll consider joining us one day.